Yes, hello again, I'm back. I said it shall be done, and so it shall. Here we go. You might be looking right now at this guy right here. My pet little dragon. I rather like him. I think he's... Okay, I mean, yes, it looks like he's vomiting fire. But apart from that, I really rather like this guy. He's my special little dragon, this guy. Little? He's a colossal red dragon. Anyway, no, you might be thinking, though, of course, if I've got the token dragon, I'm going to be reviewing the setting of Dungeons & Dragons, because that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing the settings of the games. So I'm not reviewing the books, I'm not reviewing the systems, just where they're based and where they're set to give you some idea. And frankly, I thought about this, and this particular dragon can go and shove his snout up his own dungeon. Because there's no way in hell, being basically unestablished as I am to the community, that I am going to review this. It's just not going to happen, because I just know that some buff is going to come along, completely disagree, and we're going to have a falling out. So, yeah, I'm being a coward, and I'm proud of it. It's not going to happen. So, what I thought instead, I could review something like The World of Darkness. Now, The World of Darkness is like, it's basically a modern-day horror game set in a weird mirror image of our world. Though, frankly, I think the scariest part about it is actually keeping the atmosphere and the politics. So I thought, bugger that as well. Yeah, so, with those two down, well, not for yet, anyway. I could do Exalted, that game of Eastern, mystique and intrigue. I could do Shadowrun, cyberpunk with magic return to the world. I could do no, I've done that. I could do Deadlands. Or I could even do GURPS. But then again, GURPS isn't actually a setting. It's actually a system. It's called the Generic Universal Role-Playing System. So, in other words, you put any sort of game or ideas you want over the GURPS system, and it should work, technically speaking. No, what I decided, I'm going to break some middle ground today. I'm going to talk about something else I enjoy as well, just to break me into sort of talking about these settings. And what I'm going to talk about is this. I am going to talk... can't see that. I'm going to talk about the Serenity role-playing game, or more to the point, Serenity and the setting. You people may know this as, Firefly, the series, which is created by a little-known producer. He's not very big, called Joss Whedon. He did something called Muffy the Buffet Slayer or something at some point. So, God, do you know him? So the setting, I'm going to talk about the history, and then the current day setting, and if you don't know it, quite frankly, how dare you, sir? So, yeah, the history behind this game I find is really quite interesting. Basically, I can appreciate sort of what sort of lengths Joss went to write this backstory and make something really sort of unique, It's all set in the 26th century, so the year 2700 and something. And before you start, I know, that's the same century that Star Trek was set in. Forget bloody Star Trek, I don't care, this is completely different. So, anyway, 100 years in our future, humanity, through whatever reason, whatever the cause, has completely managed to knack the Earth, and they've turned it into a polluted hellhole. You never saw that coming, did you? So they resort to Plan Z, and they build these six huge arcs. I think it's six huge arcs. They're basically like these colossal spaceships. They're massive. And what these do, as the name suggests in the biblical sense, it transports humanity across the stars, okay, to find somewhere where they can exist with the raw materials to actually get themselves going again. This journey lasts 500 years, 5 centuries, trapped with thy neighbour on these... God, I could only think of them as giant tombs, really. God. Upshot is that racial hatreds and whatnot in the next 300 years or so sort of get when they're all trapped together, they sort of get fought off, and people start to realise, well, actually, okay, he's just another human being, what the hell? His skin colour might be different. Who cares? He's one of us. You know what? That is a pretty damn good message. Enough of that. Anywho, yeah, so eventually they settle in a group of solar systems, and it is a cluster, and they find just the 1 or 2 planets that are habitable, straight off. It's good. So, yeah, these planets are promptly settled, as you might imagine. Government is set right back up, and what you have are then known as the core worlds. They might become known as that later. I'm not sure. So, yes, they leave Earth, that now called Earth that was, behind. It's sort of become a myth. People have really forgotten what they were escaping from. It's almost like you can imagine that this myth of Earth has been passed down from mouth to mouth, and it's become sort of this mythical sort of figure at the end of the day. So. Yeah, so that's how they got to where they are. Now, interestingly enough, Joss has obviously put some thought into this, because the 2 surviving religions as well. No, more on that in a minute. The 2 surviving sort of superpowers are America and China, which is, I find that very interesting. So obviously the 2 surviving religions as well, the 2 main religions, I should say, are Christianity and Buddhism, I think. Yeah. So anyway, so that in a nutshell is what happens, and it runs a sort of. The political system is a sort of democratic communist state. It's a bit Big Brother, Yes. So, 50 years down the line, because they terraform some of the other planets around the core world, so that become known as the outer core. And 50 years down the line, people come and settle these, and they're not as technologically advanced, but they're still supported. And still, but they're still under the rule of the core worlds. They're still under the rule of the Federation. So down the line, some people get a bit pissed off, or there are advertisements to send sort of explorers off into the great unknown. And this is where it becomes a bit barbaric, because these people are obviously the people in society who want to get away from the core, and you just sort of get the sense that they're trying to, the Federation wants to get rid of these guys. It's like they're offering these brilliant lifetime package tours to go and settle some new world, colonize it, explore, all this stuff. And, basically they set them down the planet with a few blankets, a herd of cattle, and, some hatchets, if they're lucky. And it's like, okay, make of it what you will. Good luck. Great. So these become known as the Rim Worlds. So these are basically, think of the Wild West. That sort of technological level, right? And now this is the clincher for me, is that towards the core, things are very, very expensive. You have got things like force fields and laser shields, and you even got lasers, though for whatever reason they're actually outlawed. Don't know. You got a very technologically advanced setup, though it's not so technologically advanced that you couldn't recognise it as our Earth. Then the further out you get, the less and less technological it becomes. You get people flying in absolute rust buckets across, across the verse, across the black, as it's called. Space is the black, and the galaxy is the verse. I quite like the sort of the slang that they sort of put into this. And this is where it becomes, so it is a Western in space. A lot of people have called it that. I'm going to call it that again, because that is what it is. And as you can see, I'm just going to cut in here because I'm overrunning the limit, so I'll be right back with part 2. Won't be long.